So I can't remember the last time I saw a movie that was simply about young girls being young girls with lessons and themes made suitable for young girls. Pixar's latest film, Turning Red, is exactly this, yet it's a film that's received a lot of unjustified hate since its release. I guess some people believe Disney films aren't supposed to tackle coming-of-age stories, or at least not this accurately, especially if those stories pertain to young girls. Or maybe there are still aspects of teenage girls coming of age that still bother grown adults in 2022. I, on the other hand, give Disney major props for wanting to talk about these things in an open yet respectful manner. And this is why I really believe we need more films like this, not less. Being a teenager is a pretty weird time, and the media tends to depict this in many different ways. Now, we all know the teen drama where all the cast members are in their 30s, right? And they're trying to lose their virginity, or the classic Mean Girls style movies that are all too popular. And while some of us went to the Euphoria high school during our teenage years, a lot of us were walking around looking like we went to Mei Ling's in Turning Red. My point here is this. I'm not one to knock the way teenage life is depicted, because these stories relate to us all in different ways. We all seen maybe hundreds, maybe thousands of movies that we enjoy, despite not relating to them one bit. And I feel like Turning Red is exactly that for me. I'm an adult black male, and I actually enjoyed this film. Not to mention, I think it's a pretty honest and accurate portrayal of early teen life. It just so happens to tackle its themes in a safe for all ages way. The teenage characters in the film are 13 years old, and they're portrayed doing, well, 13-year-old kind of shit. They dance, they sing, and are really good friends with little to no drama. And I love that that's illustrated here. It manages to capture some very real and mature themes without costing its charm and innocence in return. And I think these portrayals are important. Basically, what I'm saying is it's the kind of film I'd want my child to watch in order to get a glimpse of what growing up could look like for some. Now, going back to what I mentioned before, a lot of the hate surrounding this film that I've read is that it's just not relatable. And what's funny is they're not actually talking about the big-ass red panda Mei Ling turns into. They're talking about the childlike cringe factor of the film. So for those of you saying the story is cringeworthy or awkward, you're kind of missing the point, because it's supposed to be. What about being a teenager isn't somewhat cringe? If you don't believe me, open up your middle school or high school yearbook and you'll probably see an example of what I mean right away. Or I'm sure we can all remember a moment where we were embarrassed by a parent over something we probably wouldn't be embarrassed of now. In Turning Red, there are many themes in the film, and the potentially embarrassing nature of puberty or coming of age is one of them. Going through puberty presents many changes. Our height and weight fluctuates, and our emotions and interests may switch up. And for young girls, getting a period is one of those changes as well. The movie makes mention of this because the parents in the film recognize this as a change that could and may be happening to their daughter. But what's even crazier is that because of this, the film has also unfairly been labeled the period movie, and or has been subjected to some harsh reviews by people who are adult humans, because the film makes mention of a young girl potentially having her first period. First off, to label this the period movie like it's a bad thing only perpetuates the already negative connotations society has given periods, continuing to make girls feel like this is some fucking gross and unnatural part of growing up. And second, this does a great disservice to the film overall, because it's about much more than this one aspect of puberty. The film covers changes in emotion, self-discovery, and independence while dealing with strict, overbearing parents who may also be carrying the weight of generational trauma. It's about family and friends, which, by the way, shout out to the girl Miriam for taking care of Mei Ling's Tamagotchi, because at the end of the day, real friends always have your back even when they're mad at you. But in all seriousness, what I liked the most about Turning Red, despite all of these great qualities, is that while these changes are happening, it never fails to show that these kids are still kids. Young girls whose only care in the world is simply to see a boy band that they're in love with. And this is what I feel those who've negatively commented on this film have failed to see. Overall, Turning Red is a film I couldn't recommend enough. Not only is the film led by an all-women team from the director, producers, writers, you name it, it's done really well. It takes the coming-of-age story and manages to make it unique. For those hating on the film for its themes and subject matter, I just have to say grow up. I don't think the film's perfect, but I won't unjustly compromise it because I don't relate to it personally. And to those hating on the themes, I damn sure disagree that the subject matter is too risque. If I did have to critique the film, it'd be due to certain plot points that made me squint a little bit. For example, Mei's mom getting so upset to the point of practically trying to kill her at one point. I understand being overbearing, and I do understand that she might not be able to control her powers in this moment, but that was just kind of weird to me. And I also say the film deals with some pretty fantastical elements that were never fully established in this universe. But other than that, I had a good time with this one. The story was well written, the soundtrack is one of Pixar's best, and it does a good job capturing the early 2000s, a time that I'm really familiar with. And despite the negative reviews, it's a completely harmless film in my opinion. And for that, I give Turning Red an 8.3 out of 10. As always, these are just my thoughts though, and I'd love to hear what you guys think. Did you like it too, or do you disagree and think that these things should maybe be kept out of Disney movies? I really appreciate you guys, and if you're new, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We have more content coming that I think you'll like. Anyways, you guys be safe out there, and I'll catch you soon.